I always knew my sister would try to ruin my life. I just didn't expect her to succeed quite so spectacularly. My name is Emery, and I've spent 19 years being the family disappointment. Not because I've done anything wrong, mind you. My crime was simply being born second, after my perfect sister Savannah. "Emmy, honey, could you help set the table?" Mum called from the kitchen. "Savannah's studying for her business exam." I glanced over at my sister sprawled on the couch, definitely not studying as she scrolled through Instagram. She caught my eye and smirked. "Sure, Mum," I replied, forcing a smile. Just another typical Tuesday night. As I laid out the plates, I could hear Mom gushing to Dad about Savannah's latest accomplishment, making the dean's list again. Never mind that I'd made it too. Somehow that detail had gotten lost in the excitement. "Did you see the photos from Savannah's business leadership conference?" Mum continued. "She looks so professional in that blazer, already a little CEO in the making." I nearly dropped a glass, remembering how Mom had refused to buy me a blazer for my own presentation last semester. "You'll hardly use it," she'd said. "Besides, Savannah needs new volleyball gear." "Hey, Squirt," Savannah called out, finally deigning to acknowledge my existence. "Roy texted me about this amazing party this weekend. You're coming, right?" I perked up at the mention of my boyfriend. He didn't tell me about any party. "Oh." She examined her perfect manicure. Must have slipped his mind. You know how boys are. Something in her tone made my stomach clench, but before I could reply, Mom swooped in. "Savannah, darling, tell Dad about that internship offer you got." I retreated to my room after dinner, pulling out the secret folder hidden under my mattress. Inside was my nearly completed application for the Preston Foundation Scholarship. A full ride to my dream school, 3,000 miles away from here. My phone buzzed with a text from Krista. "How's Operation Escape Plan going?" I smiled, typing back. "Almost done. Just need Prof. Mitchell to review my final essay tomorrow." Krista was the only one who knew about my scholarship application. Well, her and Professor Mitchell, my faculty mentor, who'd been helping me prepare for months. He was the first person who'd ever looked at me and seen potential, instead of just Savannah's less impressive little sister. "You have a brilliant mind, Emery," he told me after class one day. "Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." A knock at my door made me quickly shove the folder away. "Come in." Dad poked his head in. "Hey, kiddo. Good day." I shrugged. "Same as usual." He lingered awkwardly in the doorway. "Listen, your mother and I were talking. Savannah's internship is unpaid, so we might need to dip into your college fund to help her with living expenses." The familiar ache bloomed in my chest. "But Dad, that money was for—" "I know, sweetheart, but this is a huge opportunity for your sister. You understand, right?" I forced myself to nod. Of course I understood. I always understood. After he left, I pulled out my phone and opened the photo gallery. There was a picture from last month. Me and Roy at the pier, his arms around me, both of us laughing. I zoomed in on his face, studying his warm brown eyes, trying to ignore the gnawing doubt in my gut. My sister's words echoed in my head. Must have slipped his mind. Nothing ever just slipped with Savannah. Every word, every action was calculated for maximum impact. I'd learned that lesson the hard way over the years, but this time would be different. In my darkest moments, that scholarship application was my secret weapon. Proof that I wasn't who they thought I was. That I could be more than just Savannah's shadow. Another text from Krista lit up my screen. "Remember, you're stronger than they know. Don't let them dim your light." I touched the folder under my mattress like a talisman. Soon, I told myself, soon they'd all see what I was capable of. And maybe, just maybe, that knowledge would be the sweetest revenge of all. But first, I had to survive whatever game Savannah was playing with Roy, because if there's one thing I knew about my sister, it's that she never could resist taking what was mine, just to prove that she could. The truth hit me like a slap to the face on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I was walking to my car after my meeting with Professor Mitchell when I saw them. Roy and Savannah tucked into a corner of the campus coffee shop, His hand was on her knee. She was laughing that practiced laugh of hers, the one she used when she wanted something. My feet carried me through the door before my brain could catch up. The little bell chimed, and they both looked up. Roy jerked his hand away like he'd been burned. "Emery," his voice cracked, "I thought you had class." "Office hours with Professor Mitchell," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "Working on that project I told you about. Remember, the one you said was a waste of time?" Savannah's lips curved into that familiar smirk. "Oh, Emmy, we were just going to tell you." "Tell me what?" But I already knew. God, I'd known for weeks, hadn't I? I just hadn't wanted to believe it. "Roy and we've been spending time together." She reached for his hand. He let her take it, though he couldn't meet my eyes. "These things just happen sometimes. You can't help who you fall for." The coffee shop suddenly felt too small, too hot. "How long?" "Does it matter?" Savannah's voice dripped with fake sympathy. "The point is, Roy and I have a real connection. Don't we, baby?" Roy shifted uncomfortably. "Emery, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for—" "Save it." I turned to leave, then stopped. Looked back at my sister. "You know what's funny? You don't even want him. You just couldn't stand that for once. Someone chose me first." Her perfect mask slipped for just a second. "You don't know what I want." "Actually, I do. You want what you've always wanted, to prove you're better than me. Congratulations. Mission accomplished." I walked out into the rain, ignoring Roy calling my name. My phone buzzed. "Krista." "Where are you?" she demanded when I answered. "I just saw your sister's Snapchat story. That absolute witch." "Coffee shop. Well, leaving it now." I fumbled with my car keys, hands shaking. "Want to help me commit a murder?" "Better idea. Come to my house. Mom made tamales." 20 minutes later, I was on Krista's bedroom floor, surrounded by comfort food and tissues. I should have seen it coming, I said, picking at a tamale. The party invitation, the weird texts, the way she kept finding reasons to mention him. "None of this is your fault." Krista's dark eyes flashed with anger. "Your sister is toxic, and Roy is a coward." My phone buzzed again, Roy calling for the third time. I declined it. "You know what the worst part is?" I said. "Tomorrow at dinner, she'll tell some twisted version of the story that makes her the hero, and they'll believe her. They always do. Then don't give her the satisfaction." Krista sat up straighter. "How close are you to finishing that scholarship application?" "Almost done. Professor Mitchell thinks I have a real shot." "Then focus on that. Let them all think whatever they want about poor, pathetic Emery. While they're busy underestimating you, you'll be planning your escape." I pulled out my phone and opened the draft of my application essay. The words blurred through my tears, but they were there. My ticket out. "You're right." I wiped my eyes. "I'm not letting her win. Not this time." My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Savannah says you made a scene at the coffee shop. We need to talk when you get home." Krista read it over my shoulder and snorted. Of course she already told them. "Want me to come with you?" I shook my head. "No, I need to handle this myself." When I got home, they were waiting, Mom, Dad, and Savannah, arranged like a tribunal in the living room. "Your sister is very upset," Mom began. "Really?" I laughed, and it sounded strange even to my ears. "Savannah's upset? That's rich." "Now, Emmy," Dad tried to intervene. "These situations are complicated." "No, they're really not." I looked directly at Savannah. "You wanted to hurt me. Mission accomplished. But you know what? Keep him. Keep all of it. I'm done playing your games." I turned and walked upstairs, ignoring Mum's calls to come back. In my room, I pulled out my scholarship folder and started typing. The words flowed easier now, fueled by anger and determination. My phone lit up with a text from Professor Mitchell. "How's that final draft coming along?" I smiled through my tears and replied, "Almost ready." "And Professor, thank you for believing in me." Because that's what Savannah didn't understand. She could take Roy, she could take my parents' attention, but she couldn't take this. My chance at something bigger than her games, bigger than all of us. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of late nights and coffee-fueled study sessions. I threw myself into finalizing my scholarship application, barely leaving my room except for classes and meetings with Professor Mitchell. "This is exceptional work, Emery," he said, reviewing my final essay draft. "Your analysis of sustainable urban development is graduate-level quality." I straightened in my chair. "Really?" He nodded, making a few notes in the margin. "The Preston Foundation would be foolish not to select you. Have you told your family yet?" "No." I fiddled with my pen. "They're distracted." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Don't forget, family dinner tonight. Savannah has big news." Professor Mitchell caught my expression. "Everything all right at home?" "Just the usual family drama." I forced a smile. "Nothing I can't handle." He leaned back in his chair, studying me. "You know, Emery, I've taught thousands of students over the years. The ones who succeed aren't always the ones with the most support. They're the ones who refuse to let others define their worth." "Is that your way of telling me to keep my chin up?" "That's my way of telling you that you're stronger than you realize." He handed back my essay. "Make these final revisions and submit it. Then start planning what you'll pack for California." Walking home, I ran into Krista outside our favorite diner. "Perfect timing." She grabbed my arm. "I'm buying you lunch, and you're telling me everything about the scholarship." Over burgers and fries, I showed her the essay. "This is amazing," she said, flipping through the pages. "But what about tonight's dinner? Are you ready for that?" I stole one of her fries. "As ready as I'll ever be. Mom's been hinting all week about Savannah's wonderful surprise. $20 says she's going to announce she's moving in with Roy." My stomach lurched. "Thanks for that mental image. Sorry." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Want me to come over after? We can watch bad movies and plot your sister's downfall." "Can't. Need to finish these revisions and submit everything tonight. The deadline's tomorrow." Back home, I could hear excited voices from the kitchen as I slipped upstairs. Mom was teaching Savannah her secret lasagna recipe, the one she'd always been too busy to teach me. "Emmy," Mom called out. "Is that you? Come help us prepare for dinner." "Can't," I shouted back. "Studying." I closed my door and pulled out my laptop. 3 hours until dinner. 3 hours to perfect every word, every comma. 3 hours until whatever bomb Savannah was planning to drop. My phone buzzed. Roy calling again. I'd blocked his number after the coffee shop, but he'd started using different phones. I declined the call. At exactly 6, Mom's voice rang through the house. "Dinner's ready." I saved my final draft and took a deep breath. Showtime. The dining room was decorated like Christmas had come early. Mom's best tablecloth, the fancy wine glasses, even candles. "Finally!" Savannah beamed from her seat next to Roy. "Wait, Roy?" "We've been waiting for you." Mom was practically vibrating with excitement. Dad looked uncomfortable, as usual. "What's he doing here?" I asked, my voice flat. "Now, Emmy," Mom started. "This is a special family dinner. We have an announcement." Savannah thrust out her left hand, something sparkling on her ring finger. "Roy proposed." The room spun slightly. I gripped the back of my chair. "Isn't it wonderful?" Mom gushed. "And the timing is perfect. Roy's family owns that apartment complex near campus, so they can live there while Savannah finishes school." Roy finally spoke, his voice quiet. "Emery, I know this is sudden." "Sudden?" I laughed. "It's been what, 2 weeks since you were my boyfriend?" "Emmy," Mom's voice sharpened, "don't ruin your sister's moment." "Of course not." I sat down, my laptop bag heavy against my leg. Heaven forbid anyone ruin Savannah's moment. "I know this is hard," Savannah said, her voice dripping honey, "but I hope you'll be my maid of honor. After all, you're my only sister." The room went quiet, waiting for my response. I looked at my sister's triumphant smile, at Roy's guilty face, at Mom's pleading eyes, at Dad's studied neutrality. My phone buzzed. A text from Professor Mitchell. "Don't forget, midnight deadline. You've got this." I smiled, and Savannah's expression flickered with uncertainty. Actually, I said, reaching for my laptop bag, I have an announcement of my own. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's showing them exactly what they underestimated. An announcement? Savannah's smile turned brittle. Emmy, we're kind of in the middle of celebrating. Oh, this won't take long. I pulled out my laptop, hand steady despite my racing heart. I just need to submit something first. Now isn't the time for homework, Mum sighed. Your sister just got engaged. Actually, I opened my email, clicked send on my completed application. This is perfect timing. While Savannah's been busy stealing my boyfriend, I've been working on something too. The confirmation email pinged instantly. Done. No taking it back now. What are you talking about? Savannah's voice had lost its sugary sweetness. I turned my laptop around, showing them the Preston Foundation's webpage. I've been working with Professor Mitchell for months on a scholarship application, full ride to Berkeley's urban planning program. The silence was deafening. Dad was the first to speak. Berkeley? In California? That's right. I met his eyes. 3,000 miles away. But... Mom looked confused. But what about staying local? We talked about this. The community college has perfectly good programs. No, Mom. You and Savannah talked about that. I had different plans. Savannah laughed, but it sounded forced. Please, like you'll actually get it. Do you know how competitive those scholarships are? Very. I pulled up another email, the one I'd received that morning. That's why Professor Mitchell had me apply early. They fast-tracked my application based on my research proposal. What research proposal? Mom demanded. The one I've been working on all year. The one none of you asked about. I turned the screen again. I got the preliminary acceptance this morning. Full scholarship, pending final submission, which I just sent. Roy spoke up, surprising everyone. That's actually amazing, Emery. Don't encourage her, Savannah snapped. She's just trying to steal attention from our engagement. I closed my laptop. Funny, that sounds familiar. Except I didn't have to steal anyone's boyfriend to do it. Girls, Dad raised his voice. That's enough. You're right, it is enough. I stood up. Congratulations on your engagement. I'm sure you'll be very happy together. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to call Professor Mitchell. Sit down, Mom's voice cracked like a whip. You are not moving to California. Actually, I am. I've already accepted the preliminary offer. With what money? Savannah smirked. Your college fund went to my internship, remember? I know. That's why I got a full scholarship. Tuition, housing, everything. I shouldered my laptop bag. You can't stop me this time, Savannah. She stood up so fast her chair toppled backward. This is ridiculous. Mom, tell her she can't go. But Mom was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. All this time, you were planning this? Someone had to believe in me. I felt tears threatening, but forced them back. Since it clearly wasn't going to be my family. My phone buzzed. Krista. Did you submit it? Tell me everything. Emmy, please, Dad started. Let's discuss this rationally. There's nothing to discuss. I'm going. I headed for the stairs, then turned back. Oh, and Savannah, about being your maid of honor. Hard pass. I made it to my room before the shouting started. Savannah's shrill voice carried through the floor. Something about me being selfish and attention-seeking. Mom's responses were quieter but just as heated. My phone rang. Professor Mitchell. It's done, I said, answering. I submitted everything. Excellent. I could hear the smile in his voice. How did your family take the news? About as well as expected. There's currently a nuclear meltdown happening in my dining room. Give them time. Success is the best revenge, Emery. And you're going to be very successful. A knock at my door. Dad. I have to go, I told Professor Mitchell. Thank you, for everything. Dad didn't wait for an invitation before entering. He looked tired. Your mother is upset, he said. I noticed. He sat on my bed, shoulders slumped. Why didn't you tell us? Would it have mattered? Everything's always about Savannah. That's not fair. Isn't it? I turned to face him. Name one thing in the past year that was about me. One time you chose me first. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Exactly. I wiped away a stray tear. I'm going to Berkeley, Dad. I earned this. For once in my life, I did something that was just for me. And neither you, nor Mom, nor Savannah gets to take that away. Downstairs, something shattered. Probably one of Mum's precious wine glasses. Dad winced. I should go deal with that. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you, Emmy. But I noticed he couldn't quite meet my eyes when he said it. The next morning, Mum acted like nothing had happened. She was making pancakes, Savannah's favorite, when I came downstairs. Emmy, perfect timing. I invited Roy's parents over for dinner tonight. We need to discuss wedding plans. I grabbed an apple instead. I have plans with Krista. Cancel them. She flipped a pancake with unnecessary force. This is important family time. No, it's important Savannah time. There's a difference. The front door opened, and Savannah breezed in, already dressed for success in one of her designer outfits. Morning, family. Roy's mom is so excited about dinner. She's bringing their wedding planner. I bit into my apple. Have fun with that. Actually, Savannah's smile turned predatory. I need you here. We're discussing the bridal party, and since you're being difficult about being maid of honor, still a hard pass. Girls, Mum warned, not this morning. My phone buzzed. Professor Mitchell. Good news. Committee wants to meet you today, 4 p.m. I have to go, I announced, grabbing my keys. Meeting at school. With that professor again? Savannah rolled her eyes. Mum, don't you think it's weird how much time she spends with him? What's that supposed to mean? I spun around. Nothing. She examined her perfect manicure. Just saying it's convenient that he's helping you so much makes you wonder what else is going on. The implication hit me like a slap. You disgusting. Savannah. Mom looked shocked. That's completely inappropriate. Is it? She suddenly gets this amazing opportunity, and none of us have even met this professor. I was across the room before I realized I was moving. Don't you dare try to cheapen this just because you can't stand that I achieved something without you. Girls, Mum stepped between us. That's enough. Savannah, apologize to your sister. Why should I? She's the one ruining everything. First my engagement dinner, now the wedding planning. No, I cut in. You don't get to play victim here. Not after what you did with Roy. Roy chose me. She was practically screaming now. He chose me because I'm better. I've always been better. The kitchen fell silent. Even Mom looked stunned. There it is. I felt oddly calm. The real Savannah, ladies and gentlemen. My phone buzzed again. Krista. Outside. Get in, loser, we're going shopping. I'm done here. I headed for the door. Have fun with your wedding planning. Emmy, wait, Mom called after me. But I was already out the door, sliding into Krista's car. You look like you need coffee, she said, pulling away from the curb. And possibly bail money. Just drive. At our favorite coffee shop, not the one where I'd caught Roy and Savannah, Krista listened as I recounted the morning's events. She said, what about Professor Mitchell? Krista's face darkened. That's low, even for her. She's desperate. I stirred my latte. She can't stand that I'm leaving, that I'm doing something she can't control or overshadow. Speaking of which, Krista grinned, check your email. I pulled out my phone. There it was, official confirmation of my meeting with the scholarship committee. They fast-tracked everything after Professor Mitchell submitted his recommendation, I said, scanning the email. They want to meet the promising young urban planning scholar in person. See, while your sister's planning her rushed revenge wedding, you're planning your future. Krista raised her cup. To Karma. My phone lit up with texts from Mom. Please come home. We need to talk about this. Your sister is upset. The wedding planner needs your measurements. I turned my phone off. Want to help me pick out an outfit for the committee meeting? I asked Krista. Something that says, future urban planning genius who's definitely not sleeping with her professor. Girl, you know I do. She stood up. Let's make you look so professional that even Savannah can't find anything to criticize. 3 hours later, I had a new blazer, purchased with my own money from my part-time job, and it was time to meet the committee. Professor Mitchell was waiting outside the conference room. Ready? I smoothed my blazer. As I'll ever be. Remember, you earned this. Everything in that application is your work, your ideas, your talent. He smiled. They're going to love you. I thought of Savannah at home, probably trying on wedding dresses and playing the perfect daughter. For once, I didn't feel jealous or angry or hurt. I felt free. Let's do this, I said, and opened the door to my future. The scholarship committee meeting went better than I could have imagined. By the time I got home, clutching my official acceptance letter, the house was full of wedding planning chaos. There she is, Roy's mother exclaimed as I walked in. We were just talking about bridesmaid dresses. I took in the scene. Fabric swatches everywhere, wedding magazines spread across every surface. Mom and Savannah huddled with an elegant woman who must be the wedding planner. Roy sat awkwardly on the couch, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Actually, I held up my letter, I have news. Emmy, Mum's voice held a warning. Not now. Yes, now. I stepped into the center of the room. I just met with the Preston Foundation Committee. I got the scholarship, full ride, starting next semester. The wedding planner looked confused. Oh, how lovely. Will you be able to attend classes between wedding duties? I'll be in California, I said clearly. Berkeley, specifically. Roy's mother gasped. Berkeley? That's wonderful. Roy applied there for undergrad but didn't get in. Savannah's head snapped up. Mother, we're discussing my wedding. Of course, dear, but this is exciting news. A full scholarship to Berkeley. It's not that impressive, Savannah cut in. They probably needed to fill a quota or something. The room went silent. Even the wedding planner looked uncomfortable. Actually, I pulled out the committee's detailed acceptance letter. They were particularly impressed by my research proposal on sustainable urban development in low-income communities. Would you like to hear what they said, Savannah? She stood up, face flushed. This is my wedding planning session, my day. Why do you always have to... Always have to what? I interrupted. Achieve something? Have goals that don't revolve around you? Girls, Dad warned from his corner. No, let her finish. I turned to face my sister fully. Tell everyone how it bothers you that for once, just once, the spotlight isn't on you. You're just jealous because Roy chose me. Savannah's voice rose hysterically. Because he saw what everyone sees, that you're nothing but a pale imitation of me. Roy stood up suddenly. Savannah, stop. What? She whirled on him. This is wrong. He looked at me. All of it. I never should have. Roy, Savannah's voice turned sugary sweet. Darling, you're upset. Emmy's obviously trying to manipulate. Like you manipulated me. He stepped away from her. You spent months telling me how Emery was using me, how she was seeing other guys, how she laughed about me behind my back. But she wasn't, was she? That was all you. The wedding planner began quietly gathering her things. I think, Roy's mother said stiffly, we should continue this another time. No. Savannah grabbed Roy's arm. Tell them you love me. Tell them how happy we are. He gently but firmly removed her hand. I don't even know who you are anymore. As Roy and his mother left, the silence in the room was deafening. The wedding planner made a hasty exit, leaving just our family. Well, Mom said shakily, I'm sure once everyone calms down. Are you serious? I stared at her. After what just happened, that's what you have to say? Your sister is upset. I'm upset. I slammed my acceptance letter down on the coffee table. I've been upset for years, but nobody ever noticed because poor, perfect Savannah needed all the attention. That's not true, Dad started. Really? I turned to him. Then why did my college fund go to her unpaid internship? Why does Mom still have the receipt for Savannah's prom dress, but couldn't be bothered to come to my honors ceremony? Why does everything always have to be about her. Savannah had sunk onto the couch, mascara running down her face. For the first time in my life, she looked small. I worked for this, I said, picking up my acceptance letter. I earned this, and I'm going, whether you support me or not. Emmy, Mum reached for me, but I stepped back. I'm going to Krista's. I need some air. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Savannah, I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, because it was never about Roy, was it? It was about making sure I couldn't have anything that was just mine. As I walked out, I heard her start to cry, real tears this time, not the fake ones she was so good at. But for once, I didn't feel guilty. My phone buzzed. Krista. How'd it go? I texted back. Nuclear explosion. Coming over. Bring ice cream. Because sometimes the truth hurts, but hiding from it hurts more. And I was done hiding. I spent 3 days at Krista's before Mum's text became impossible to ignore. Please come home. We need to talk. Walking into our house felt like entering a war zone. Wedding magazines still littered every surface, but they were wrinkled now, some torn, like someone had thrown them in anger. Emmy? Mom appeared from the kitchen, looking exhausted. Thank God, we've been so worried. I told you I was at Krista's. Savannah's locked herself in her room, Mom continued as if I hadn't spoken. She won't eat, won't talk to anyone. Roy isn't answering her calls. That's not my problem. She's your sister. Is she? I dropped my bag on the floor. Because from where I'm standing, she's been more like my tormentor. Dad emerged from his study. Emmy, please, she's hurting. And I wasn't. When she deliberately went after my boyfriend. When she tried to ruin my scholarship by implying I was sleeping with my professor. I didn't mean it. We all turned. Savannah stood at the top of the stairs, looking nothing like her usual perfect self. Her hair was unwashed, her eyes puffy from crying. Of course you meant it, I said. You meant everything you've ever done to hurt me. She came down slowly, like each step was painful. I couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand what? That you were leaving, her voice cracked. That you had this whole plan, this whole future that didn't include me, that I couldn't control. Do you even hear yourself? I stepped closer. Control? That's what this has always been about, hasn't it? Controlling me, controlling how everyone sees me. Girls, Mom tried to intervene. No, let her answer, I insisted. Why, Savannah? Why wasn't it enough to be the favorite? Why did you have to take everything? Because I'm nothing without it, she screamed, then covered her mouth like she was shocked by her own words. The room went silent. What are you talking about? Dad asked quietly. Savannah sank onto the bottom step. Everyone loves the perfect daughter, right? The pretty one, the successful one. But what happens when it's not enough anymore? When your little sister is smarter, more driven, more real? That's ridiculous, I started, but she cut me off. Is it? You got into Berkeley on your own merit. Everything I have, everything I am, is because Mum and Dad gave it to me. Even Roy. I only went after him because I couldn't stand that he chose you first. Mum made a choked sound. That's messed up, I said flatly. I know. Savannah looked up, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I know it is, but I don't know how to be anything else anymore. So get therapy, I suggested, but stop using me as your emotional punching bag. Emmy, Mum sounded scandalized. No, she's right. Savannah wiped her eyes. I need help. I've needed help for a long time. Dad sat down heavily in his armchair. Why didn't you tell us you were feeling this way? Because you both made it so easy. Savannah's laugh was bitter. Every time I acted out, you enabled me. Every time I hurt Emmy, you made excuses. I could do no wrong, and it made everything worse. Mum started crying. Dad looked like someone had punched him. Well, I picked up my bag. This has been enlightening, but I have apartment listings to look at for Berkeley. Emmy, wait. Savannah stood up. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm sorry. For everything. For Roy. For the professor thing. For all of it. I studied her face. The genuine pain there, the fear, the desperation. "You're right," I said finally. "You don't deserve forgiveness. Not yet. But maybe someday." "I'll do better," she whispered. "I promise." "Don't promise me. Prove it. Get help. Figure out who you are without comparing yourself to me. And maybe, when I come home for Christmas break, we can talk." Mom stepped forward. "Emmy, about Berkeley." "I'm going," I said firmly. "That's not up for discussion." "I know." She took a shaky breath. "I was going to say, we'll help you move in, if you want." Dad nodded. "We should have supported you from the start. We failed you both, in different ways." I looked at my family. Really looked at them. Mom's tired face, Dad's guilty eyes, Savannah's broken expression. We were all damaged, all hurting in our own ways. "Okay," I said finally, "but things have to change. All of us." Savannah nodded, wiping fresh tears. "They will." My phone buzzed. Professor Mitchell checking in about housing options. "I have to go," I said. "I have a meeting about student housing." As I walked out, I heard Savannah ask Mom about therapy recommendations. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but maybe it was a start. Moving day arrived with a mix of nervous energy and cautious hope. My small collection of boxes looked almost pitiful next to the mountain of dorm supplies Mom had insisted on buying. "You don't have to help," I told her as she folded another blanket. "Krista and I can handle it. I want to." She smoothed the fabric with shaking hands. "Emmy, I've been thinking about what you said, about always choosing Savannah." "Mom, we don't have to." "Yes, we do." She set down the blanket. "I was so focused on making Savannah feel special that I forgot you needed that too." "I'm sorry." A knock at my door interrupted us. Savannah stood there, looking uncertain. "Can I come in?" I nodded. She'd started therapy 2 weeks ago, and while it wasn't a magical fix, something had shifted between us. "I have something for you." She held out a small package. "For your dorm room." Inside was a framed photo, not of our family, but of me and Krista at graduation, both of us laughing at something off camera. "I noticed you don't have many photos of yourself," Savannah said quietly, "because I was always. Anyway, Krista helped me find this one. You look happy. Real." "Thank you," I managed. "Roy called yesterday," she added. "He wanted to know if you'd changed your number." "What did you tell him?" "That he lost the right to know anything about you when he chose to be part of my game." She twisted her hands together. "I told him to leave us both alone." Mom looked between us, tears in her eyes. "Don't cry, Mom," I said. "I'm only moving to California, not Mars." I know. She wiped her eyes. "It's just, my girls are growing up." A car horn honked outside. Krista and Dad with the rental truck. "Ready?" Krista bounded up the stairs. "Oh, family moment. I can come back." "No, stay." I grabbed her hand. "Your family, too." We formed a strange convoy heading west, Dad and Mom in their car, Krista and me in the rental truck, my entire life packed between us. At the California state line, we stopped at a rest area. Professor Mitchell had texted, "My research grant proposal was approved. I'd be starting work as soon as classes began." "I'm proud of you," Dad said, reading the text over my shoulder. I should have said that more. "Thanks, Dad," Savannah called as we neared Berkeley. "Did you get there yet?" "Almost. Nervous? Shouldn't I be asking you that?" She paused. "My therapist thinks I should take a break from dating. Focus on figuring out who I am without using other people as mirrors." "That sounds smart." "Yeah." Another pause. "Hey, Emmy, I know I don't deserve it, but maybe we could video chat sometimes. Not a lot, just, I'd like to hear about your classes, if you want to tell me." I watched the Berkeley campus appear on the horizon. "Maybe. Let's start slow." My dorm room was small but bright, with a view of the bay. As we unpacked, Mum kept finding excuses to rearrange things, to stay just a little longer. "Mum," I finally said, "I'll be okay." She pulled me into a fierce hug. "I know you will. You always have been. Strong, Dad added, like your mother. Krista was the last to leave, after helping me arrange my desk just right. Sure you don't want me to stay, she asked. I could defer for a semester. No way. NYU is waiting for you. I hugged her tight. Besides, Christmas break isn't that far away. After everyone left, I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. The Preston Foundation website was still bookmarked, the scholarship that had changed everything. My phone buzzed with a group text from Mom. Room looks beautiful. Call when you're settled. Then Savannah. Found my old notes from freshman year. They're yours if you want them. Probably terrible advice, though. And Krista. Missing you already. NYU won't know what hit it. Finally, Professor Mitchell. Ready to change the world? I looked around my new room, at the photo Savannah had given me, at the city light starting to twinkle outside my window. For the first time in my life, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I texted back, ready, because sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about getting free. Free to be yourself, free to make mistakes, free to forgive, not because someone deserves it, but because you deserve peace. I opened my course schedule and started reading. Tomorrow, my real life would begin, and I was ready for every single page of it.